Action.
Finding the right cast that could actually step up to the demands of the part. To me, that was the biggest challenge of Tomorrowland.
Away, he turns back, I go longer.
You're gonna step in, okay?
You are not supposed to do anything. You were manipulated into thinking that you're part of something incredible, like you're special. But you weren't. You're not.
So that's a no?
Cut.
We all knew that if we didn't get the right Frank, this movie would never work. And I remember Brad and I were getting into his car, and he looked at me and said, "Hey, what if we get Clooney?" Well, we've got to at least try. By some miracle, he said yes.
George has a very particular way of handling himself. I think people feel that integrity when they see him. He's also a very funny guy.
Yeah.
I just yell at young girls for most of the movie.
Hey, don't touch that.
Use your imagination.
That's a fantastic analogy.
I'm giving you 5 seconds.
Suck back now?
Britt Robertson had some unusual physical constraints put on her. She had to be very precise with how her body worked in the frame.
I've never...
She is a trooper. I've never come across a young actress with such enthusiasm and such dedication.
This is the first time for her to do something on this scale. So she was really put through the ringer on every level. And she did it like a champ.
She's a marvelous performer.
So, Raffi, what's it like to be a driver way underage?
Feels illegal.
No.
We just want people to know that Raffi's not actually doing it. We have a hidden Jade here. Yes, who's doing the actual driving from the floor. Isn't the movie business glamorous?
Down for me, please.
Come on, we have to go.
Raffi had a very tricky role because we needed someone who was a kid and yet conveyed wisdom, who has seen a lot and yet remains unshakably optimistic. And Raffi radiated that.
I'm the future Frank Walker.
She sent in a self-taped thing. There was something that hooked me that was outside of the test. And so she'd do the scene, and then at the end of the scene...
Here's your ticket. Don't lose it.
Cool.
That sort of realness of the upbeat quality, that's something that you can't fake, and that's her.
She kicks butt in this movie. Who might you be?
David Nix.
When Damon said for Nix, it should be Hugh Laurie, it was like, yeah, that's it.
He's a scientist, a technocrat. He has a sort of harsh practicality about human problems.
But the end of the world is hot. Dystopia is positively sexy.
It's really important that the villain looks at themselves as the hero. It almost feels like Nix was written for Hugh, and Hugh was really the only name on the list.
He's got a very dry sense of humor, and I've always really appreciated it. It was really fun to get to know him and spend time with him.
Please tell me you can do better than fun.
For Hugh and I think Hugh would agree, Tomorrowland is a place where two former television doctors can finally play around.
Ribcage! Ribcage! Oh!
Cut. Good.
What I love about Brad is the challenges that he brings to me as a producer on a movie to try and help him make his vision.
He sees everything. He has a vision for every single scene, every moment, every character.
Because of his animation background, he creates these shots that are very easy to do in animation, but extremely complex and difficult to do live action. Brad designed the sequence where Frank Walker Jr. is traveling about a couple hundred yards with this jetpack on his back, out of control. This was the first sequence where I'm like, okay, we want to take an 11-year-old boy and fly him with a jetpack. This is not going to be easy. What I told the studio, and I told Brad very early on, was once we've cast these kids, both of them have to do about 8 weeks of intensive training to be able to be prepared to go into this movie and know how to deal with wires and how to do fighting.
The physicality was pretty intense. Thomas, he's just as good as walking in the wind tunnel.
He's very proficient. I can never be prouder.
The harnesses are the most uncomfortable thing I have ever been in, but being able to fly above like 30 feet in the air is totally worth it. It's one of the coolest things I have ever done.
Here we go.
Raffi wants to do everything. On a wire, doing fire, being next to an explosion. We're constantly having to tell her, sorry, but you can't do that.
And it's real. Raffi has worked so hard to make sure that all of the stunts she can do on her own. She can do backflips, she can do spins, she can kick guns out of people's hands, and she'll just do it until she passes out.
Whenever we get to do stunts, it's a happy moment.
Action!
The promise of Tomorrowland is the direct result of the collective imagination of what tomorrow can be. People have to believe that tomorrow is in their power, and we can use that to build the positive future. We need to start owning it and stepping forward to do it.
Hello, everyone. It's Brad Bird here with a little on-set diary, and through the magic of movies, I'm here in 1964. It's really cool because I am surrounded by people in the World's Fair, including the Scouts. They're represented here. The first day is sort of a nervous thrill. You start with this germ of an idea, and it takes shape. After all these months of preparation, you're finally ready to roll. Welcome to First Day Land. Day one. We're definitely in 1964, when filming something on a portable phone would have been beyond anybody's dreams.
Hey, top of the morning to you.
Top of the morning to you.
Top of the morning.
And now the illusion crumbles. We have all these movie people here, too. And then the illusion is back and ruined by Walker, who is present day.
Oh, no.
Down here, we have our ride operator.
Whoa. Sorry, you're gonna have to take the next boat, sir.
Hello, fairgoers. I'm the director, I look out at all the people that we have assembled, and I'm wondering how we'll all work together, how the pieces will fit, and how everything will turn out. It's scary, but it's exciting.
Tomorrowland!
There's something about those two words melded together that's really appealing.
Let's roll, please. Oh, I thought you were rolling. Okay, cool.
Come on. How great is this?
Here we go. Pictures up. We are at NASA, and we're filming a scene where Casey is trying to sabotage the platform. Ready, and action. And turn, bam. Her father works for NASA, and she wants the missions to continue, so she decides to slow down the dismantling of the space program. And cut. It's amazing for me because I've been around long enough to remember when astronauts were regularly going into space, and it was a real point of pride as an American. So, Raph, tell us a little bit about the experience of being here at NASA.
Okay, well, the experience is so cool. It makes me want to be an astronaut.
Yes?
Yeah.
More than being an actress?
No. Well, no.
I just remember being a kid, and when we landed on the moon, the feeling that human beings can do something amazing if they just set their mind to it.
All of this is about space and people connected with NASA, and we're here to kind of commemorate that as part of Tomorrowland. Was it your first rocket launch in terms of witnessing one?
I don't want to brag. But I've been around for a few rocket launches, as you can imagine.
President John F. Kennedy said we were going to get to the moon by the end of the 60s. And we did it. It was about reaching out. It was about going away from the planet and out to other things. We were assuming that the future was bright. Tomorrowland is asking the question, what's happened to that kind of optimism? And can it come back?
Rated PG.
Anytime that there's an empty canvas, there are two ways to look at it. One is emptiness, and the other one is wide open to possibility. And that's how I like to look at the future, is wide open to possibility.
You know, a symbolic and kind of strange thing happened early in the production of this film.
Once we come up with a planet, I see the angles and where the screen.
We were in pre-production, and we got word that the space shuttle was going to take its last legs around the United States. Kind of a goodbye flight before being retired in a museum.
And so we're like, where's the best place to see this thing as it flies over the valley? And let's just go on the roof of the building. And everybody was sort of looking like, what direction is it going to be coming from? And I don't want to miss it. And we all started having this sort of palpable sense of excitement.
It's coming back, it's coming back.
Hi. But it did feel like something was ending. The space shuttle would not be going into space anymore.
The shuttle, ironically, over us while we're making a movie about the very sad reality we're experiencing today.
It was this really weird moment because it sort of encapsulated the spirit of our movie, which is we are at a crossroads. And we can decide that it's not worth exploring space anymore, or we can decide that the exploration has just begun. That the future has unlimited possibilities.
You know, the future was wide open when we were kids. The first time I visited Disneyland, I was 5 years old, and the Tomorrowland section of the park, I really loved that part of Disneyland. There was a glimpse of what was around the corner and a slant on here is what is coming.
The idea that the future is an exciting challenge is something that's very much Walt Disney's point of view and also the point of view of our film.
Tomorrowland, promise of things to come.
In our modern world, everywhere we look, we see the influence science has upon our daily lives. In this exciting age when everyone seems to be talking about the future possibilities of space travel, there's much speculation on what we will discover when we visit other worlds.
Disney was always projecting forward, and all you have to do is look at those specials he did in the late 50s.
Many of the things that seem impossible now will become realities tomorrow.
He believed that people need to grab the future with both hands and head toward the future we want. Come on. How great is this? Many of us who worked on the film have the mission of NASA close to our hearts.
Wow, that's really cool.
We're, all of us, yearning for space travel.
And cut. Cut there.
It's amazing for me because I've been around long enough to remember when astronauts were regularly going into space, and it was a real point of pride as an American. So, Raph, tell us a little bit about the experience of being here at NASA.
Okay, well, the experience is so cool. It makes me want to be an astronaut.
Yes?
Yeah.
More than being an actress?
No. Well, no.
I just remember being a kid, and when we landed on the moon, the feeling that human beings can do something amazing if they just set their mind to it.
All of this is about space and people connected with NASA, and we're here to kind of commemorate that as part of Tomorrowland.
Neil Armstrong reported back when he received the good wishes. Thank you very much. We know it will be a good flight.
All the Apollo missions.
Wow.
So Neil Armstrong left from there and landed on the moon.
That's pretty great.
Amazing.
And Godspeed. 40 seconds away from the Apollo 11 liftoff. All the second stage tanks now pressurized. 35 seconds and counting. We are still go with Apollo 11. 30 seconds and counting.
Yeah.
So is it your first rocket launch in terms of witnessing one?
I don't want to brag. But I've been around for a few rocket launches, as you can imagine.
Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
President John F. Kennedy said we were going to get to the moon by the end of the 60s, and we did it. In some ways, that was some kind of high point. It was about reaching out. It was about going away from the planet and out to other things.
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
We were assuming that the future was bright.
You can see the stars and stripes.
Tomorrowland is asking the question, what's happened to that kind of optimism? And can it come back?
Okay, a big day for my brother Michael, and we are starting with a morning pick-me-up.
First day, already been texting with Brad.
You have?
Yeah.
What, 6 in the morning?
5:30 in the morning, actually.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, tell me about the weird morning tradition you have the first day you start scoring a new film.
My morning tradition, I will cut up one of these, and put it in my coffee.
sort of a little good luck thing. Goes way back to the Medal of Honor days. Wish we had more time to explain that, but well. Duty calls.
Is he causing trouble again? Do we need to?
I'm sorry, sir. We're in the middle of recording here.
What?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, what?
Somebody explain that to me.
All right, we're about 4 or 5 minutes away, guys. Everybody's good to go?
Hey, we're 4 or 5 minutes away when I say we're 4 or 5 minutes away.
Here we go. Good to see you, Brad.
How you doing?
So what's the coolest thing about working on this film?
There's a couple great things about working on Tomorrowland. One, obviously, is that I get to work with my good friend Brad.
We can start it right there if you want. Yeah. And then we can fade it inward.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
When you're making things, if you can make them with friends, that's the greatest. The other great thing was that I was going to get to work with the music of the legendary Richard Sherman. And I'm a huge lifetime fan of Richard Sherman's. When he told me that he might be able to come to the sessions, I thought, what? Are you kidding me? Richard and his brother Robert were the most incredible songwriters. Two brothers who worked on, Mary Poppins, The Jungle Book, Winnie the Pooh, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. It's a Small World after all. Basically, the music of the Sherman Brothers is the soundtrack to our childhood. And it really helped make me want to do what I'm doing today.
So wait, you mean you would have even known their music when we took that first trip to Disney World?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I can still remember sitting at the parks looking up at the characters in awe, and I couldn't even believe what I was seeing. I remember hearing this music, and much of it was written by the Sherman Brothers. These are the things that just kind of stay with you forever.
Okay, violins and violas. Do you remember on another cue where you have the da-da-da-da-da-da, but we had the pizzicatos?
Okay, this is interesting. We just got word that Richard Sherman is actually coming here this morning.
Yeah, all right.
I wasn't sure if it was going to happen, but it looks like it is. So I'm going to go get things set up to play one of his greatest songs. It's a Great Big Beautiful Tomorrow, featured prominently in the movie.
We have Richard Sherman coming to hang out with us.
It's sort of like having the president come visit your session.
Come on up. Can you tell us a little something about the writing of that song? Just a quick little.
Imagineers at Disney Studios, along with Walt Disney, were creating a very special ride that was going to be at the World Fair called the Carousel of Progress. And Walt, with great enthusiasm, was telling us about this incredible ride that we're going to have. And my brother Bob and I, we wrote together, of course, we're talking about it afterwards, and we said, well, Walt has a dream, and that's the start. And we said, that's not a bad idea for the man has a dream, and that's the start. Well, that's a good lyric. We could do that. That was the beginning of the song that you're about to play, which is called It's a Great Big Beautiful Tomorrow. There you go.
The orchestra started playing Richard's music. It was electric. It was this feeling in the air. You could see it in his eyes. It was literally like this music was rising from the past. It's just incredible to believe that it's been more than 50 years since the song debuted. When these musicians started playing, a wave of emotion just swept over everyone in the room. I remember seeing Winnie the Pooh and hearing Winnie the Pooh music, hearing A Spoonful of Sugar, and to think that years from then I'd actually be working with him and friends with him would have been quite a leap for me to believe at the time.
Which sample you like better, Richard?
You want to hear it inside with the vocal accompaniment? All right, we'll go inside.
Man has a dream, and that's the start. He follows his dream with mind and heart.
I've been in a lot of these sessions, but I can tell you today was really great because I just enjoyed watching you work with one of your musical heroes.
Sometimes I look around and I cannot believe what I get to do. It's not every day that something like this happens. You know, this day is going to stick with me for a very, very long time. Oh, this is great. Well, you're welcome to come back and hang out all week if you want. Do I mind having the director in the room?
Does he direct your music?
It's not really so much about minding. It's just sort of not an option. I mean, it's just one of those things you just have to live with. You know, you just live with it.
He's tried changing the locks.
I've tried telling him we were at different studios. I tried everything. He always ends up finding out somehow.
Scene one, take one. Action!
In the future, energy will come to us in more efficient forms. Years from now, we will no longer drill and drain the earth to produce the crude fuels to run our automobiles and homes. No, we will use electromagnetic energy, elegant and clean, harvested from the very atoms that surround us. Do I have to say that?
Yes, please. And action!
And how, Junior Tomorrow Noughts, will that energy be transmitted to your mummies and daddies? Wirelessly, using towers such as these, called trilospheres, inspired by the work of that great hero of science, Nikola Tesla.
My dad owns a filling station. Wait, Mr. Nix, wouldn't your triloceruses put him out of work?
First of all, it's Dr. Nix. Secondly, this is a trilosphere because he's not a dinosaur. And thirdly, and most importantly, your father is the agent of a parasitic empire that is sucking the lifeblood of this planet dry without a thought for the price that we're all going to have to pay when his filling station eventually transforms our planet into a radioactive prune and your family dog into a wasteland scavenging mutant with a taste for human flesh.
Cut!
Well, he... Should we just do it again?
One more time. Action!
Salutations from the future. Tune in to Disney's World of Tomorrow, Sunday at 7 p.m.
Fantastic. That was great. Can we try one more? And this time, can you smile a little more at the end?
Why?
Scene two, take one. Action!
In the future, please don't touch that. And don't touch the robot. In the future, no one will ever go hungry as we learn to cultivate any kind of crop in any part of the world, no matter how harsh the climate. We're capable of growing whatever we imagine.
Can we grow French fries?
No. You're asking me if we can grow French fries. Do you think it's likely that we could grow French fries? How would we do that? Is it even desirable that we grow French fries, seeing that French fries are merely potatoes burnt to a crisp in hydrogenated oil? Is that a good thing? We want to grow French fries? Don't nod. Don't nod. I said, don't nod. We can grow anything that we need.
Can I go candy?
Has anyone checked these children for head trauma? Salutations from the future. Tune in to Disney's World of Tomorrow on Sunday at 7 p.m. How's that? Is that cheerful enough for you?
Sure. It was great, David. Walt is going to be pleased as punch.
Next thing he'll be wanting me to talk to the Musketeers about the importance of manners. Musketeers. Dear God.
Scene three, take one. Action!
As I speak, our very best minds are developing a broad array of life extension technologies, gene therapies, robotic organs, even the means to transfer consciousness itself into superior bodies. that will make possible a dream that has challenged humanity since the dawn of time. Immortality. Anybody got anything they want to say? Want to say, oh, Mr. Nix, with cheating death? That goes against the laws of nature and religion. Oh, shut up. I'm supposed to grow old and die and fertilize the planet with my greasy, carcinogenic biomass. It's the circle of life. Well, you know what I say to you, junior tomorrow noughts? Good riddance. And it's Dr. Nix.
Can we meet Haley Mills now?
Be on the mark.
When we were shooting this, Jeffrey Chernoff, who's one of the producers, came up one day and said, you know, if you cut this little extra scene, we'll be back on schedule.
And action.
We're in Paris?
Would you stop?
I looked at it and I said, well, yeah, you could lose that.
You to stop.
And then later in the editing room, and I go, wait a minute, I just cut the payoff to the joke in here. And why didn't I shoot that? Why, oh, why didn't I shoot it? So I went back to shoot it.
Okay, we're set.
And it cut in perfectly, but it slowed the movie down. So the extra scene that you're about to see now was actually shot in the week of reshoots that we did.
Get used to it, kid.
Don't. Would you stop being so amazed?
I thought you wanted me to be
I
amazed.
want you to stop yammering.
Le tour est terminé. S'il vous plaît, dirigez-vous vers la sortie la plus proche. Merci beaucoup.
Tower's closing.
Oh, hell. Is he one of us or one of you?
How should I know?
Because you have X-ray vision. You lied.
Get used to it, kid.
Don't. You and I are gonna watch this. They may not have your facial recognition profile uploaded yet.
May not?
May not. So, you walk over there, you take this, you tap him on the neck. If he's human, it knocks him right out.
And if it's a robot?
Right.
Hey!
You'll just piss it off.
Fantastic.
She's got guts, you gotta give her that.
Non, désolé, le musée est fermé.
Ah, Human!
After 29 golf, take one.
Ready? And swing it around a little more to that side of your other side. Casey and the volcano scene was in the original version in between two scenes that we'd already shot. It was meant to ease a transition, and it's a nice scene in and of itself and tells you a little bit more about Casey. Action. This is my volcano. You've all enjoy it every year. But it was delaying Casey getting the pin and getting to Tomorrowland. The girl that played Casey in that scene was terrific. That was great, Jada. Can you do one more of those?
Yeah.
And we're very happy that we can have people see the scene on the Blu-ray.
Thank you, Donnie, for yet another amazing volcano. And now our final presentation. What have you made for us, Casey?
Thank you, Mrs. Alonso. Hi, Dad. Hi, Mom. In 1783, over 6 million people worldwide horrifically died as a result of volcanic eruptions in Laki, Iceland. Just a century earlier, a volcano in Peru released an ash cloud that caused a famine in Russia, starving 2 million people to death.
Okay, Casey.
Vesuvius, Krakatoa, Galungan, Hiroshima, Mount St. Helens, thousands more lives lost. And still, we do nothing. So I made a volcano extinguisher. It puts out volcanoes.
Casey, did you have a lot of help with this?
Nope. I did it myself. I know how things work.
Oh, boy.
What?
Are you going to go through your entire childhood?
You started when you were a kid. I'm just giving them
Just move
context.
it along, okay? They don't have all day.
Cool, you got it.
Speed. Margaret.
Ready and action.
Tone. Tone. What the hell are you watching?
The living room scene was taken out when we took out the family that was living with Casey's family. Casey's family was not only a little bit larger because the mom was still around,
Casey.
but also there was Uncle Tony and his kids. The concept behind the extended family was we wanted to show that a lot of the middle class was hurting. There was added pressure on the Newton family because a relative of theirs was now living with them with his kids.
Hey, I have maternal instincts.
So, unfortunately, the extended family is no longer in the film, but this upcoming scene will give you a small taste of how we originally conceived the Newton household, and you get to look at Scott Chambliss and company's fabulous set.
Tone.
With his 1,500 cans
Tone.
of food, pick and choose about
What?
5 different cans.
What the hell are you watching?
Doomsday preppers. Man,
Could you turn it down just a little bit, please?
it's too loud.
Let's hunker down in the bunker and eat some bunker stew. All I can say is, dear bunker, you've been a friend of mine.
Don't just say, well, he lives underground, so he's a nut. Am I nuts?
Right across his property. But if nuclear bombs detonate nearby, the soil could fall out for years, contaminating much of gallons stored with him underground.
I'm not gonna drink my own urine, okay? Look at me, read my lips. I am not going to drink my own urine.
Our original conception of Casey was that she would represent disillusioned youth, but in the editing process, it was reading as her having given up. And it's hard to root for somebody that thinks she's given up.
Today, any nuclear country or terrorist has the capability of inflicting damage on a massive scale.
So these upcoming scenes were cut because they demonstrated that Casey was sort of tipping into the negativity that we wanted her to be rebelling against. They were not necessarily just cut, they were replaced.
Then what are they gonna pay you for?
So we decided to go in another direction and show that she's struggling mightily against negativity. But when you watch these upcoming scenes, you'll have a good sense of how we originally wrote Casey's character.
Identify yourself.
Nate, so help me God, if you wake up Mom and Dad, I will crush you.
You shouldn't sneak out.
You shouldn't still need a wubby.
Mom says it's okay to sleep with.
Because she can't afford to send you to a shrink.
Were you at the platform again? What do you do out there?
Please stop talking.
Are you trying to stop them from taking it down?
Why would I do that?
Because if they take it down, no one will go to space anymore.
No one wants to go to space anymore.
Why not?
Because they gave up.
Thousands of important paintings, sculptures, and other artworks have mysteriously disappeared without a trace. In a series of stunningly well-coordinated thefts around the world, the thefts have decimated the collections of many of...
Let's have some breakfast, huh? Good boy.
Yeah, you're 5 minutes wrong! No way, moron! I'm telling Aunt Jenny! Fine, tell her any more than 5 minutes. What?
Get down here now!
You don't have maternal instincts.
I have maternal instincts.
I saw it on Animal Planet. The mom spider monkey left the dad spider monkey with the baby.
Don't compare your uncle to a monkey. It's not polite.
Thank you.
It's accurate, but not polite.
Mom, I don't want peanut butter.
Oh, I'm sorry. We're all out of caviar. Will someone get the phone?
What's caviar?
Fish eggs.
People eat fish eggs?
Down here now!
Damn it! Why is no one getting the phone? Nut House, Jenny speaking.
Oh.
Eddie, it's work.
Yep. Oh, good morning. Morning, bro. Starbuck. Hey, Goober.
Morning.
Goober, Starbuck, what? I get no nickname?
When your kids give me my bathroom back, you'll get a nickname. Gorgeous. Hello? Yeah. Really? All 3 cranes. How does that even happen? All right, man. Okay. See you soon. Thanks. Bye. Equipment at the platform's down again.
What? That's the 3rd time this month. That's weird.
Really weird.
At least you get the day off.
We're bringing in replacement equipment from Orlando.
Platform's not going anywhere. Why are they in such a rush?
Because time, my dear, is money, and they don't pay us to sit around.
And when it's gone, then what are they gonna pay you for?
Casey.
What? It's not fair. As soon as they take it apart, they're just gonna fire him. You helped build it.
I did, and I'm very proud of that. But look, I'll find another job. I am a NASA engineer. 11 launches. And you're on my shoulders for every one of those, young lady.
Until she got too big.
Until she got too big.
I mean, until there weren't any launches to watch anymore.
There are 2 wolves.
Dad.
Okay, fix it.
Come on. Seriously?
Seriously. I'm Dad. You have to listen. There are two wolves that live inside each and every one of us. They're always fighting. One, darkness, despair. The other, brightness and hope. Which wolf wins?
Whichever one you feed.
That's my girl. Eat.
Casey Newton. Casey Newton. So, what do you want to do with your life, Casey?
I want to be a guidance counselor.
You know, that answer actually stung a little the first 50 times I heard it. Well, Casey, you're sharp enough to get sent to a school for gifted students and troubled enough to get thrown out. High IQ, but substandard grades, not sure why. And you haven't applied to a single college. Do you have a plan for your future?
Doesn't matter.
Let me rephrase. When you were little, what did you want to be when you grew up?
I wanted to be an astronaut. May I go now?
Margaret?
We cut the scene on the hover rail because it was time to get to Nick's explaining, here's how Casey can fix the world. And the scene went off on a tangent explaining, here's what's become of Tomorrowland. There was all this exposition about the world building that actually ended up on the cutting room floor.
So again, it was one of these things where it's like this movie wants to move at a certain clip, and you can explain things, but not to the point where you slow down too much or the movie starts to grind to a halt.
Right, but we're glad we can now give the audience a little more detail as to what happened to Tomorrowland in this upcoming deleted scene.
It's so empty.
Hey. How bad is it over there?
What?
Jensen.
Not as green as I remembered it.
Grass and trees are beautiful to look at, but they don't generate the kind of power we need.
How much power do you need?
Really is good to see you again, Frank. No one's implied I'm a dictator in years.
It's so empty. How many people live here?
Just enough.
I thought the plan was to share this place. Show it to the world. What happened?
The monitor happened.
What the hell is that? History. Art. It's culture, Frank. We're salvaging it. You'd rather it was lost forever?
Where is it going? Is that like a portal to Earth?
No, it is a bridgeway to Earth. Welcome back to the Monitor, Frank.
Looks like you made a few upgrades.
The sphere now generates more energy than every wind, solar, and photosynthetic power source we had combined, rendering them obsolete. There's something, isn't it?
Yeah, it's something.
Margaret?
Welcome to Blast from the Past. Oh, I got through. Okay, it's okay. Let's reset, guys.
We cut this big section of the Gernsback's explanation of what was happening from Blast from the Past because it felt like the movie was delving into a textbook modality as opposed to an entertainment modality.
Every major leap in technology before...
And so we cut it down to basically capture the emotional content of Casey realizing that the place that she saw was real and required some explanation, but we ended up dropping over half of the stuff that we had written.
So what's cool is the audience will be able to see both ways on the disc, the way that's in the movie and the original way it was.
Okay, here we go. Hugo Gernsback, how may I help you?
She has a pen. She has a pen.
I saw that you were looking for one online.
Where did you get it?
What can you tell me about
I
it?
can't tell you anything about it unless you tell me who gave it to you.
I'm not going first.
Well, it seems our business here is done.
Seems it is.
Saw something, didn't you? When you touched it? Something incredible?
I think I saw. I went to the future.
Not the future, honey.
Tomorrowland.
It's real?
Of course it's real. Though technically you didn't go there. That little gizmo in your hand, it beamed a guided tour into your head. Wi-Fi uplink to the old cerebral cortex. Don't ask me how. These people have developed technologies we haven't even dreamed of yet.
Wait. What people?
Vija at chupa.
Ebya June.
Have you ever wondered what would happen if all the geniuses, the artists, the scientists, the smartest, most creative people in the world decided to actually change it? But where? Where could they even do such a thing? They'd need a place free from politics and bureaucracy, distractions, greed. A secret place where they could build whatever they were crazy enough to imagine.
Tomorrowland.
Tomorrowland.
Like, at Disney?
Oh, honey. That theme park was just a cover for the real thing in case anybody came snooping around. Old Wall was one of them. Secret Society of Geniuses, plus Ultra, they called themselves.
Every major leap in technology going back to the turn of the 20th century came from them. Electricity, flight.
Television, the microchip, the internet, designed and perfected over there decades before they decided that we were ready for it over here. All of it culminating in a fully functional, fully populated city of the future. Up and running since the early 60s.
So you're saying that it's somewhere out there, right now?
The only way to see it, however, is through contact with one of these.
Why did they make them? What are they for?
Rumor has it, they were about to go public. Share what they had built with the whole world.
Unfortunately, that never happened.
Why not?
I think we've shared enough, young lady. So, as we've decided to trust you, please trust us and tell me, where'd you get it?